The Garton Cemetery is an old cemetery on the outskirts of the small town of Gartonville, Texas. The locals call it the Deathless Graveyard. Why? No one knew, or maybe they knew but didn't dare to speak up. The story begins with Emily Harper, who makes historical documentaries. She had to research mysterious places for a new series. Someone named it Garton Cemetery. She Googled the name as soon as she heard it, but couldn't find any solid information. Just a few old forum reports. Whoever sees the names written on the cemetery wall becomes part of the list themselves. Emily ignored it, thinking it was a local legend. But that night she received the first strange thing, an email with only 3 words. Don't read the list. The sender was unknown. The next morning she arrived in Texas. The cemetery was far from town, in an open wasteland. As soon as she entered, there was a strange silence. Not even the birds were talking. A strange dampness and cold air went down Emily's spine like a server. She turned on the camera and started recording when she saw strange writings on the wall. It turned out that there was a long stone wall to the left of the entrance to the cemetery, on which names were engraved. But these were not the names of graves. They were something else. Emily went in front of the wall, looked closer. There were dates written in front of the names, but they were all from the coming days. For example, Michael Turner, February 14, 2026. Sophia Woods, February 18, 2026. David Jones, February 21, 2026. Emily's heart beat faster. What is this? A few seconds later, she felt a jolt as the last name made her legs tremble. Emily Harper, the 1st of March, 2026. She stood there, holding her breath. She read the name again, her hands shaking. All these names were of living people, and why her own name? At that moment, a notification came to her phone from a local news page. Michael Turner, resident of Gartonville, found dead this morning in a car accident. It was the same name, which was written on the wall with the date 14. Today was the 14th. Emily's mind went blank. She thought about leaving the cemetery, but as soon as she turned around and started walking, she felt someone standing behind her. She stopped and turned. There was no one, but the airflow felt different, as if someone was breathing. By evening, she reached her motel. It was difficult to sleep, but as soon as she closed her eyes, the dream began. She found herself standing in the cemetery. The names were being erased from the wall, one by one. Then, a black shadow appeared in front of her. It had no face, just an empty, dark, hollow place where the eyes should be. The shadow was writing the name with its long hand, tracing the name on the wall. Then Emily screamed as she saw it writing because it wrote her name again with its own hand. This time, the date was today. Emily woke up with a start, drenched in sweat. The next morning, she decided to meet Mr. Coleman, the old town librarian. He might know some information. She listened to Emily and her expression paled. You read the wall. Oh God, you shouldn't have done that. This list is a list of deaths. Emily plucked up the courage to ask, what is all this, Mr. Coleman? She sighed. This cemetery is no ordinary one. A long time ago, a murderer was buried on this land. Isaac Gorton. He was told when he died that his soul would never find peace. He wrote down the names of people he had killed in his life, and his soul continued to do the same after death. Emily's body shivered. But my name, Coleman said softly. Whoever reads the names on this wall becomes part of the list himself. Gorton's soul adds him to it. Fear spread in Emily's eyes. How can I avoid it? The old librarian replied. There is only one way. You have to erase your name from the wall yourself. Otherwise, you will die before the next sunset, like the rest. Emily didn't waste a moment. She returned to the cemetery with her camera, a flashlight, and a sharp metal scraper. There were only 2 hours left before sunset. As she approached the wall, the air became unusually cold. There was a sound, like someone laughing softly. Emily looked back. There was no one. She looked for her name on the wall, but now a new date had been written in front of her name. Today, that's all. She immediately began to erase the name with the scraper, but the stone was so hard that her hands began to hurt. Suddenly, the camera screen showed movement. Something was coming from behind her, the same black shadow. It was floating in the air, above the ground. Emily turned around. The shadow stopped and stared at her. Black smoke was coming from its hollow eyes. The long grass of the cemetery began to move as if the ground were breathing on its own. She tried to erase her name quickly. The shadow began to approach her. She screamed and ran the scraper hard, and at the last moment, the last letter of the name was erased. The shadow stopped there. Then slowly, like a fuming scream, it disappeared like smoke. Emily took a deep breath. She stepped back, but as she stepped back, She saw that the place for her name on the wall was empty. She had succeeded. But the next moment, the life went out of her legs because a new name was emerging under the empty space. Emily Harper survived. She thought maybe it was all over. She went back to the motel, left town the next day. But the story did not end there. 2 days after leaving Texas, she received another email. This time the sender was the same unknown, but this time there was only one line. The list never ends. It only looks for the next name. Emily immediately opened the camera. She had received a video. The video was of the cemetery. A new name was being written on the wall of another living person in the world. Emily remained silent. She realized that she had saved herself, but Gorton's death list was still running, and she herself had now become the guardian of this list, a list in which each new name was the death of someone or the other. Late at night, her phone rang again. The notification opened. The video played automatically. At the end of this video, a new name was emerging on the wall. Emily's voice stopped. She held her breath, because the new name being written on the wall was Abubakar, -305-2026.